Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, folks. Michael Zuber, one rental at a time. It is Wednesday, and that means Matt, the mortgage guy, has to be with us. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing great, man. I'm impressed by that new background, man. I gotta say.
Oh, well, I hope this is one of many because I got a lot of ideas planned for this office, so it's going to be a good time. So let me ask you about rates. Rates are exploding here. So what's going on with rates here?
Yeah, I think that's probably the conversation I'm having the most right now is people call, and if they didn't know, we show them the scenario at 3.625. They're like, holy cow, what happened? I was pre-approved in December and we were looking at 3.25. Now you're telling me 3.625. And that's with great credit.
Yeah.
If your credit is a little bit challenged, I had a buddy of mine he's like, really? Is my rate 3.875? I said, well, that was last week.
Yeah.
Your rate now has a 4 in front of it, unless you want to pay some points to buy it down. So rates are up. And I don't think that it should be sky is falling, the market's going to crash. I can no longer afford. I recorded a video where I went through some numbers.
Yeah.
For most people, if home ownership makes sense or an investment property makes sense, 0.5% isn't going to change that. It shouldn't change that, right? If you're buying an owner occupied home that you're going to live in for 10 plus years and $100 or $125 a month was a make or break, I would probably say that it would be a good idea to buy in the first place, right? If 2,100 made all the sense in the world, and now 2,200 is like, nope, can't do that. Think I'm just going to continue to rent and see how that works out for me. Then there's other underlying problems, and so the investor stuff that I've been looking at. Somebody just pinged me yesterday and said, "Hey Matt, what's a 2 to 4 unit investment property loan look like now?" Because they knew rates had gone up. That stuff is 4.25 with paying, I think it was a 0.5 point, might even been a full point on that 2 to 4 unit stuff. The owner occupied stuff, even for the most well qualified, if you don't want to pay points, 3.625 to 3.75. If you just want to follow something easy, you go to Mortgage News Daily and they'll show you like the average. They do a survey and it's 3.64, 3.68. The crazy part is looking at it from early August to now, almost a full percent.
Yeah.
Early August was like 2.78 was the average, and now we're like approaching 3.7. So it's almost a full 1% since August. And you can probably go back on YouTube. You can probably hear 24 interviews where me and Mike are talking and saying, if you like it, lock it. Rates are going up. The Feds, got all these plans. And when they change their stance on monetary policy, here's what happens to interest rates. So it's no surprise. The only surprise, Mike, I think, is how much and how fast.
Yeah. Well, there's a couple of things I want to point out. First and foremost, you're right. You and I have been talking about this stuff for a while. And unlike other YouTube channels that just talk, I've been telling you exactly what I did. So for example, I think it was 3 months ago, I did a cash out refi on an office building, 30-year money, and got 3.99. Now you're telling me investment loans are 4.25. So again, I know what I'm doing, right? I raised dry powder early. And this is, you again, follow the channel. I really do this business. Have the experts like Matt, the mortgage guy, every week so we can talk about what's really going on today. Second, I want to be very clear. And yes, I have my dogs on my lap. You just saw happy. Just because rates are 4.25 doesn't make investing a bad idea. You just have to change the mortgage payment, right? I teach calculating yield. Nothing changes except the mortgage payment with a higher interest rate. It will without question hurt your yield, which probably means you need to get a better deal, right? Because again, I teach learning average and you do good or great. But I want to be very clear, just because rates are in the 4s, just because rates may be in the 5s on investment loans later this year, doesn't make real estate investing a bad idea. In fact, for me, I am so excited about 2022 because all the new investors, all the mom and pops will get interest rate shocked, which will mean the market will slow down and I'll be able to find the motivated seller who will take a lower price and I'll pay a higher interest. It's okay. I've done investment loans in the 7s So just because it's in the 4s, maybe it'll be in the 5s. That doesn't mean this stops. It just means you need to be better at what you do.
Right. And I think too, to piggyback on that and use an example where it's like, I'm not just saying this stuff, I'm living this stuff. If you have to use financing with a higher interest rate and your terms aren't as good, that's a good thing, in my opinion. You've got to find a great deal. If in the future you can refinance to a lower rate, it makes the deal even better, right?
Exactly.
But for people who had to get 3% for the deal to make sense, that might have been, a deal that's not so great. If you ever want to refinance and pull equity from it, ever want to do anything. I personally bought 2 fourplexes in 2019. I had to use non-QM financing because I had transitioned from W-2 to self-employed, and 5.5% interest rate. The deal was a home run at 5.5. Mm-hmm. So when I refinanced it to 3.375, it felt like a grand slam. Exactly. And that's better than like, okay, this deal kind of makes sense at 3%. I can justify it, right? If I get this 3% interest rate, it doesn't get any better. There's no bettering that deal. Maybe rents will go up or whatever, but you're not bettering the financing terms more than likely, right? So I think you're right. You do the same work, you do math. The inputs are just different with the interest rate, and you go out and find deals.
There you go. Very cool, man. Well, how can people find you? Because you're doing amazing stuff and helping my channel all the time. Where do you want them to go?
Greatmortgagebroker.com. We've got that dialed in and ready. And so that's the easiest way. I know some people still pop online and they find a phone number or they find an email, and you can do that and we're going to respond to you, but you're going to get a lot quicker response. You're going to be on the phone with the loan officer within hours. If you go to greatmortgagebroker.com, fill out that quick form, let us know where you're at and how we can help.
Yeah. What I would tell somebody on my channel today, if you're thinking about buying, thinking about refinancing, you need to reach out to them today because rates have moved aggressively. And if you're going to be calculating your yield, you should get the right interest rate because that'll be a big part of the calculation. So Matt, thank you very much.
Thanks, Mike.
All right.